Noah had changed many habits, but one belief remained. He still described himself using old limiting labels. I am not a confident person. I am terrible with money. I never finish creative projects. I am simply bad at meeting new people. Each sentence sounded like an honest description, but every label quietly became an instruction. When an opportunity appeared, the label answered first. Confidence was for other people. Organization belonged to naturally disciplined minds. Creativity belonged to people born with talent. Noah repeated these ideas until they felt permanent. He stopped testing whether they were still true. His identity became a cage built from old evidence. One afternoon, Noah received an invitation to a workshop. The event included strangers, discussions, and public exercises. It could help him develop an important professional skill. But the old label immediately appeared. I am not the kind of person who does this. Noah imagined awkward silence and uncomfortable introductions. He imagined everyone else appearing confident and prepared. Without checking the details, he declined the invitation. Relief arrived the moment he pressed the button. Yet relief was followed by a familiar disappointment. The label had protected him from temporary discomfort. It had also removed another possible future. Noah wondered how many doors had closed this way. Maybe the world was not rejecting him. Maybe he was rejecting himself before the world could answer. That evening, Noah opened the mysterious notebook again. A mirror appeared across the glowing page. Inside the mirror stood 5 different versions of Noah. One was confident, another calm, another creative. A fourth managed money carefully. The fifth spoke easily with unfamiliar people. Noah searched for the real version among them. Then the mirror shattered into hundreds of small actions. Each action became one piece of an identity. The notebook revealed a simple truth. Identity is not only something you discover. It is also something you repeatedly practice. Every action becomes a vote for one possible self. One vote does not decide the entire election. But repeated votes eventually create a clear result. Noah decided to test the idea with confidence. He did not begin with a large public speech. He began by asking one question during a meeting. His voice sounded quieter than he wanted. Still, he had cast one vote for courage. The next day, he greeted a coworker first. That became a second vote. Later, he shared one unfinished idea with the team. The idea was not perfect, but it was useful. That became another vote for confidence. Noah began collecting evidence his old label ignored. He was not suddenly fearless or naturally outgoing. He was practicing behaviors confident people often practice. The identity changed after the actions, not before them. Confidence became a pattern instead of a personality gift. Next, Noah challenged the label about money. He had always called himself careless with spending. That label made every mistake feel inevitable. So he started with one small financial action. He wrote down every purchase for 7 days. Some expenses surprised him, while others felt unnecessary. Instead of feeling ashamed, he treated the list as evidence. On the 8th day, he created one simple spending limit. He moved a small amount into savings automatically. The action looked too small to change his identity. But the notebook reminded him that votes accumulate. Each recorded purchase became a vote for awareness. Each saved dollar became a vote for responsibility. After several weeks, careless no longer felt completely accurate. A new identity was beginning to earn evidence. Then Noah faced the hardest label of all. He believed he was someone who never finished creative work. His computer contained dozens of abandoned beginnings. Each unfinished project seemed to confirm the label. So Noah selected the smallest project he could complete. It was a simple 2-page guide for beginners. He limited the project to 1 weekend. Perfection was not allowed to expand the scope. On Saturday, he wrote the rough version. On Sunday, he corrected the clearest problems. That evening, Noah exported the finished file. It was modest, imperfect, and completely real. For the first time, unfinished was not the final evidence. One completed project became a powerful new vote. Noah had proven the old label was not permanent. Of course, the new identity did not grow smoothly. One stressful week pulled Noah toward old behaviors. He avoided speaking, overspent, and abandoned a draft. The old labels returned with surprising speed. See, this is who you really are. For several hours, Noah believed the voice. Then he opened the notebook and reviewed the evidence. One bad week not erased months of new votes. Identity was a direction, not a perfect performance. Responsible people can still make careless decisions. Confident people can still feel afraid. Creative people can still leave work unfinished. The question was not whether Noah had failed once. The question was which identity received his next vote. So he returned with one small corrective action. Months later, the workshop invitation appeared again. The same old fear arrived beside it. But this time, Noah possessed different evidence. He had asked questions, shared ideas, and finished projects. He had managed money with greater care. He had survived awkward moments without collapsing. Noah accepted the invitation before doubt could grow. At the workshop, he still felt nervous. He introduced himself to one person near the entrance. Then he joined one small discussion. By the end, he had made 2 useful connections. Noah had not discovered a hidden, fearless personality. He had built a more capable identity through repeated action. So be careful with the labels you repeat. Your next small action can vote for someone new. For 30 days, Noah followed every habit he had carefully. He woke early, exercised, read, worked, and guarded his attention. At first, visible progress seemed to appear almost everywhere daily. His energy improved, his room changed, and confidence steadily grew. Then, without warning, every visible sign of progress suddenly stopped. The scale barely moved despite Noah's continued daily disciplined effort. The difficult book still felt confusing and frustrating to understand. His work looked almost identical to what he made previously. Even his regular workouts began feeling strangely dull and ordinary. Noah wondered whether all his effort had finally stopped working. Every new day looked exactly like the one before it. The excitement he felt at the beginning had completely disappeared. Only quiet repetition remained in every part of his routine. But repetition never felt exciting enough to resemble real success. It felt like an endless flat road without any destination. The plateau began whispering dangerous ideas directly into Noah's mind. Maybe you have already reached the limit of your ability. Maybe this routine was never truly right for you anyway. Maybe others improve faster because they are naturally better equipped. Comparison hurt because Noah could not see his own progress. One evening, Noah nearly skipped his entire carefully built routine. He wanted just one day completely free from demanding effort. Then one imagined day quickly expanded into an entire week. That imagined week became permission to disappear from everything completely. The old version of Noah seemed ready to return again. He felt the familiar pull of comfort drawing him backward. Stopping promised immediate relief from uncertainty, frustration, and repeated effort. Continuing promised nothing visible that Noah could clearly recognize yet. That is exactly why long plateaus become so psychologically dangerous. They quietly make quitting appear completely logical and reasonable instead. That night, Noah opened the glowing notebook once again. Its pages remained completely blank while Noah waited in silence. Then one simple golden image slowly appeared before his eyes. It showed a small seed buried beneath dark, heavy soil. Above the ground, nothing visible showed any sign of growth. Below, powerful golden roots spread outward in every possible direction. The notebook revealed the hidden truth behind meaningful long-term progress. Growth often happens somewhere you cannot measure or observe yet. Strength develops internally long before its results become visibly obvious. Knowledge connects quietly before it becomes confidence and clear understanding. Skills organize internally before they become smooth, quick, and automatic. Discipline strengthens before your external life starts looking noticeably different. The plateau was not necessarily empty, useless, or without progress. Sometimes powerful construction was happening quietly beneath the visible surface. Noah had mistaken hidden growth for failure and wasted effort. Next, the notebook showed Noah a wide frozen winter river. For many days, the surrounding temperature rose only slightly higher. Yet the thick frozen ice appeared completely unchanged from outside. One warmer day was still not enough to melt it. Even 2 warmer days could not melt the frozen surface. Several warmer days still produced no visible change or result. Then the temperature finally crossed one critical hidden threshold point. The frozen ice cracked almost instantly across the entire river. What looked sudden had actually been building quietly for days. The final degree received nearly all the attention and praise. But every earlier degree had made that breakthrough completely possible. Noah finally understood why people often misunderstand visible success stories. They notice the dramatic breakthrough that everyone can easily observe. They rarely notice the quiet preparation occurring before that breakthrough. The plateau was simply preparation happening without recognition or applause. The next morning, Noah decided to test the notebook's lesson. He would continue following his routine for 14 additional days. He would stop demanding visible proof from himself every morning. Instead, he measured his actions rather than immediate visible outcomes. Did he simply show up and begin the planned activity? Did he complete the smallest acceptable version of that action? Did he return again after experiencing one especially difficult day? Those 3 questions became his new and more reliable measurements. Day 1 still felt completely ordinary and almost disappointingly familiar. Day 3 felt nearly identical to everything he had done. Day 6 brought no dramatic or easily noticeable external change. Day 9 deeply tested Noah's patience and remaining self-belief again. Day 11 made quitting feel painfully tempting to him again. But Noah remembered the powerful roots growing beneath empty soil. So he completed the smallest version and continued moving forward. On day 12, something small but meaningful finally changed inside. The difficult book suddenly felt easier for Noah to follow. A confusing concept finally connected clearly inside his focused mind. His workout no longer required a long internal argument beforehand. His body began moving before resistance had time to grow. At work, he solved one problem much faster than usual. The improvement was too small for anyone else to notice. But Noah noticed the difference immediately and quietly smiled afterward. The hidden roots had finally reached the visible surface above. On day 13, growing confidence began replacing his usual hesitation. By day 14, the routine felt like part of Noah. The plateau had never actually been blocking Noah's continued progress. It had been compressing repeated effort into deeper internal strength. Then all that stored energy finally released and moved upward. Noah reached a level he could not access before then. For some time, progress became exciting and visible once again. His reading speed and understanding both improved noticeably over time. His workouts became stronger, smoother, and more controlled each day. His work became more focused, creative, polished, and consistently effective. Then, several months later, another long plateau appeared before Noah. This time, Noah remained calm instead of becoming deeply afraid. He immediately recognized the familiar silence of that flat landscape. He knew the missing excitement would eventually return again later. He knew invisible roots were growing beneath this plateau too. He carefully adjusted only what genuinely needed improvement or change. He rested whenever his body truly required proper physical recovery. He asked for guidance whenever his method needed serious improvement. But he never confused slow progress with absolutely zero progress. He kept showing up without demanding recognition, praise, or applause. The plateau became a place of patience instead of fear. Most people fail not because they cannot genuinely improve themselves. They fail because improvement stays invisible for far too long. They expect every effort to reward them almost immediately afterward. When rewards arrive late, they assume their system is broken. But meaningful growth almost never follows one perfectly straight line. It moves through bursts, pauses, and periods of hidden construction. A flat section does not necessarily mean the journey ends. Sometimes your next level is being built quietly underneath there. When progress becomes quiet, do not immediately abandon your path. Honestly examine whether your current method still makes practical sense. Reduce the habit when the full version feels unmanageable today. Rest whenever your body truly needs time for proper recovery. Ask someone for help whenever you become genuinely stuck there. Never mistake invisible growth for effort that was completely wasted. Your breakthrough may already be forming directly beneath your feet. Noah had become disciplined, focused, and far more patient. But one area of his life remained completely unchanged. He still avoided anything making him feel exposed publicly. He avoided speaking first during important team meetings entirely. He avoided introducing himself to unfamiliar people around him. He avoided opportunities that felt too ambitious or uncertain. He even avoided taking unfamiliar routes through the city. His days remained productive, but increasingly repetitive and predictable. Nothing terrible ever happened inside his carefully controlled routine. But nothing surprising or life-changing ever happened there either. At first, the safe circle felt warm and comfortable. Then that comfortable circle slowly began shrinking around Noah. Every avoided challenge quietly removed another piece of freedom. Soon, comfort no longer felt restorative or genuinely peaceful. It resembled a room whose walls moved inward daily. One Monday, Noah's manager announced an important new project. The team needed someone to lead a short presentation. Noah understood the project better than anyone else present. He had already solved most of its difficult problems. For 1 second, he nearly raised his hand confidently. Then fear delivered a list of imagined possible disasters. What if his voice shook before everyone watching him? What if someone asked something he could not answer? What if everyone discovered he was not truly ready? His raised hand slowly returned toward the table again. Another colleague volunteered before Noah could reconsider his choice. The manager accepted and handed them the important project. That colleague gained praise, experience, and another valuable opportunity. Noah received safety, silence, and no visible embarrassment instead. And suddenly, that safety felt painfully expensive to him. That evening, Noah opened the familiar, mysterious, glowing notebook. A drawing appeared inside an open cage. The cage door had never actually been locked shut. Still, the frightened animal refused to walk outside alone. Beneath it, the notebook revealed another important warning quietly. Avoidance teaches fear that its predictions were actually correct. Every escape becomes evidence proving the danger was real. Every retreat makes the next attempt feel even harder. At last, Noah recognized the complete repeating psychological pattern. Fear always appeared before each approaching uncomfortable challenge arrived. Avoidance removed that fear temporarily and rewarded retreat immediately. That brief relief made retreat feel like successful protection. Then the brain remembered avoidance as the safest response. After every escape, Noah's safe circle became much smaller. He was not protecting confidence, he was strengthening fear. The notebook never demanded Noah become fearless overnight completely. Instead, it showed him 10 small golden ladder rungs. The first rung represented only mild, manageable discomfort today. The top represented the challenge Noah avoided most often. His task was never jumping directly toward the top. His task was climbing one manageable rung each time. He listed every situation that regularly frightened him most. Asking one stranger politely for the current time outside. Starting one brief friendly conversation with a nearby coworker. Sharing one simple sentence during a normal work meeting. Explaining one familiar idea to only 3 people nearby. finally leading a prepared 5-minute presentation for colleagues confidently. Each step felt uncomfortable but still realistically possible today. That manageable discomfort was exactly the level Noah needed. Courage grows through repeated experience, not imagination alone ever. The following morning, Noah attempted the smallest challenge first. He politely asked one stranger for the current time. His heartbeat accelerated rapidly before he finally spoke aloud. The entire conversation lasted only 5 brief, harmless seconds. Nothing terrible, humiliating, or dangerous happened afterward at all. The stranger answered casually and continued walking away normally. Noah's fear did not disappear immediately after that moment, but it became slightly smaller and less convincing afterward. The next day, Noah greeted a coworker first nervously. His voice sounded quieter than he wanted it to. Still, the coworker smiled warmly and greeted him back. On day 3, Noah asked one follow-up question calmly. The conversation continued for almost 1 full minute together. Noah returned toward his desk, feeling noticeably more energized. The world outside his safe circle had not attacked. Then Noah attempted a higher rung far too quickly. He volunteered to explain an idea without preparing beforehand. His mind went completely blank after the first sentence. The following silence felt endless inside his frightened mind. His face became hot and both hands started shaking. He rushed through the explanation and quickly sat down. For the remaining day, shame followed him everywhere silently. The old, fearful voice immediately returned inside his thoughts. You see, you were right to avoid this entirely. Noah almost erased the entire courage ladder from memory. But the notebook opened itself to another glowing page. One difficult attempt never proves permanent personal inability alone. It provides useful data for your next practice session. Noah had climbed too many rungs in one attempt. The answer was not retreat, but one smaller step. Over following weeks, Noah practiced slowly, carefully, and consistently. He spoke exactly once during every scheduled team meeting. He recorded short explanations while practicing alone at home. He watched those recordings without insulting or shaming himself. He improved breathing, posture, and pacing one detail daily. He practiced answering unexpected questions without immediate panic afterward. He learned to pause and breathe instead of rushing. Fear remained present, but stopped controlling every important decision. Then another challenging project arrived at his workplace suddenly. Again, the team needed someone willing to present publicly. Noah's heart immediately began racing inside the meeting room. But this time, the fear felt familiar and manageable. He raised his hand before the old retreat returned. The manager smiled and gave Noah the project folder. The next rung of courage waited directly ahead now. Presentation day arrived much sooner than Noah had wanted. His hands felt cold while his stomach tightened painfully. Courage did not feel like calm confidence that morning. It felt like fear still moving forward despite discomfort. Noah spoke the first sentence slowly and deliberately aloud. Then he paused briefly, breathed, and found steadiness again. The second sentence arrived more clearly than the first. A difficult question suddenly came from the back row. Noah did not know the complete answer immediately yet. He admitted what he knew and what required verification. The room respected his honesty and calm professional response. By the end, Noah still felt understandably nervous inside. But now he stood much larger than his fear. Every brave action had gradually expanded Noah's entire life. Your world grows whenever you cross one familiar edge. Noah believed a full schedule meant real progress. Every hour of his day contained something to do. His calendar looked impressive from morning until night. Messages, meetings, errands, and small tasks filled everything. He rarely sat still long enough to feel behind. Constant motion protected him from one uncomfortable question. Was any important work actually getting finished? At first, Noah avoided looking too closely. Replying quickly made him feel responsible. Organizing files made him feel prepared. Checking boxes made him feel disciplined. Yet his biggest goals remained almost untouched. The important project stayed at the bottom of every list. Noah was busy every day and advancing almost nowhere. Busyness had become a perfect disguise for avoidance. One Monday, Noah wrote 27 tasks before breakfast. The list looked serious, organized, and strangely satisfying. He began with the easiest item near the top. Then he answered 3 messages that could have waited. He renamed folders and adjusted colors on his calendar. He cleaned his desk before starting the real work. Then he searched for a better productivity method. By noon, 12 boxes were already checked. Noah felt proud until he opened the main project. The first page remained exactly as he left it. 4 busy hours had created almost no meaningful progress. Still, the smaller tasks offered immediate emotional rewards. Each check mark whispered that he was doing enough. The difficult task offered uncertainty instead of quick proof. So Noah returned to the safe little boxes. That evening, the mysterious notebook opened by itself. 2 jars appeared across the glowing page. One jar contained dozens of tiny gray stones. The other contained 3 large golden stones. The gray jar looked fuller from a distance. But the golden jar carried far more weight. Noah understood the comparison immediately. Small tasks can create volume without creating value. Important tasks often look fewer because they are heavier. The notebook showed another image beneath the jars. A worker pushed papers across a table all day. Beside him, another worker built one strong bridge. The first worker looked faster and more active. The second worker created something that changed the landscape. Activity and achievement were not the same thing. The notebook gave Noah one rule for Tuesday. Choose the task that would make the day matter. Noah stared at his long list with discomfort. Only one item clearly matched that definition. Finish the first section of the main proposal. It was also the task he wanted to avoid. Noah placed it alone on a single card. Everything else moved into a later list. His mind immediately produced urgent distractions. Maybe the inbox needed one final check. Maybe the desk needed another quick adjustment. Maybe more research would make beginning easier. Noah recognized the familiar pattern this time. He set a 25-minute timer and started. The room suddenly felt quieter and more honest. The first 5 minutes felt painfully slow. Noah's attention searched for easier victories everywhere. His hand moved toward the phone twice. He imagined several small tasks waiting for him. But he remained inside the difficult work. Gradually, the problem became less mysterious. One paragraph revealed the structure for the next. A missing example showed exactly what research was needed. By the timer's end, the section had real shape. Noah had checked only one box that morning. Yet that single box changed the entire project. The emotional reward arrived later but lasted longer. He felt calmer instead of merely stimulated. Meaningful work reduced anxiety that busyness had hidden. Depth had produced relief that speed never could. Noah then examined the rest of his schedule. Several meetings existed only because nobody questioned them. Many messages required information, not immediate replies. Some errands could be grouped into one trip. Several tasks belonged to other people entirely. Noah began removing work instead of adding more. He declined one meeting without a clear purpose. He created 2 specific windows for messages. He grouped similar tasks into a single block. He left empty space between demanding activities. At first, the emptiness made him feel irresponsible. Then he noticed his thinking became clearer. Fewer transitions meant less mental friction. Fewer obligations created stronger attention. His calendar finally began protecting what mattered. A week later, the busy trap returned differently. Noah was asked to help with several extra projects. Each request sounded useful, urgent, and flattering. Saying yes made him feel needed by everyone. But every yes silently removed time from something else. His main project began slipping again. Noah opened the notebook before repeating the old pattern. A closed door appeared beside an open golden path. The lesson was simple but uncomfortable. Every meaningful yes, several invisible no's. Noah chose the project that matched his real priorities. He politely declined 2 requests and delayed another. Some people looked disappointed for a few moments. But Noah's important work remained protected. Boundaries became a tool for direction, not rejection. By Friday, Noah's proposal was finally complete. It was stronger than anything he had rushed before. The manager noticed its clarity and careful reasoning. The team used it to make a difficult decision. Noah looked back at the week with surprise. His calendar contained fewer completed tasks than usual. Yet the results were larger, calmer, and more useful. He had stopped measuring effort by visible motion. He began measuring whether important things moved forward. Some days that meant finishing one difficult page. Other days it meant making one necessary decision. Real productivity was not doing everything faster. It was giving the best energy to the right work. So do not ask how much you completed today. Ask whether your most important work moved at all. Noah thought success was a giant leap that only special people could make. Every morning, he looked at his dreams and felt instantly overwhelmed. The more he wanted to change, the less he knew where to start. So he did what many people quietly do. He delayed everything again. The room was messy, the desk was buried, and his energy was gone. His phone kept stealing hours while his goals watched from the wall. At night, he promised tomorrow would finally be different. But morning always arrived faster than his motivation. One day, something strange happened before dawn. A small notebook was waiting on his desk, though he never placed it there. Its cover held just 4 words, "Start smaller than that." Noah opened it slowly, expecting some secret shortcut to success. Instead, the first page showed only one sentence. If a task feels hard, make it ridiculously easy. Noah frowned because the advice felt almost too simple to matter. Then he turned the page and found a drawing of a tiny domino. Below it, another sentence appeared in shining letters. One small move can wake up an entire chain. That idea stayed fist Noah's head long after sunrise. So, the next morning, he tried the experiment. He did not force a perfect routine or a giant comeback. He simply sat up when the alarm rang. Then, he folded his blanket and made the bed. That tiny action gave him a strange feeling of control. Next, he drank 1 glass of water. It was ordinary, siphoned. It felt like a signal. His body seemed to understand that the day had started. The notebook then showed him the next rule. Sapshire, never fight the whole mountain. Step on one stone. So when he thought about exercise, he stopped imagining a brutal workout. He got down and did one push-up. His arms shook like wet noodles. He laughed, rested, and wrote a small check mark. The next day, he did 2. Then 3, then 4, then 5. The changes were tiny, almost invisible from the outside. But inside, something important had shifted. He was no longer waiting to feel ready. He was becoming the kind of person who begins. That identity change spilled into other parts of life. A thick book used to scare him instantly. Now, he opened it and read just 2 pages. He stopped asking, "Can I finish this whole book?" Instead, he asked, "Can I read? For 4 minutes?" That question was gentle enough to answer with yes. 4 minutes became a habit that returned every evening. Pages slowly became chapters. Sads, praises. Chapters slowly became finished books. The boy who used to avoid reading now loved quiet learning. Then another challenge appeared: his scattered attention. Whenever he tried to focus, distractions attacked from every side. The notebook gave him a new instruction: make bad habits far away and good habits close. So Noah's placed his phone in a locked box. He removed game devices and random clutter from his desk. He left only a notebook, a pen, and one open task. Suddenly, focus became easier because confusion had fewer places to hide. For the first time in months, he finished deep work without panic. That small win felt better than endless scrolling ever had. This end. Then he tested the same idea with money. He was not rich, and that had always discouraged him. Still, he dropped 1 coin into the jar. The sound was tiny, but oddly powerful. The next day, he added another coin. Soon, the jar no longer looked empty. Later, he created 3 jars: spend, save, and learn. Money stopped feeling like chaos and started feeling like direction. But growth is never a perfectly clean climb. One terrible week broke his rhythm completely. He slept late, ignored the notebook, and drowned in old habits. The room became messy again, and guilt rushed in fast. He stared to the pressure and felt like a fraud. That was the moment most people quit for good. But the notebook opened by itself to one final warning. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is a new habit. Noah took a deep breath and made one small rescue move. He cleaned one corner of the room. Oops. Then he drank water. Again. Then he read 1 page, not 20. He did 1 push-up, not 50. It looked unimpressive, but the comeback had already begun. That day taught him a secret trance most people ignore. Falling off track is normal. Returning is what builds power. Weeks later, his outside world began reflecting his inside change. His posture became straighter, and his eyes more alert. His room stayed cleaner because cleaning had become automatic. His workouts grew longer without feeling terrifying. His reading sessions grew deeper and more enjoyable. His savings jars started representing future possibilities, and his mind became quieter because fewer promises were being broken. Then a new door opened. Speaking in front of others. Public speaking had always terrified him, more than failure itself. So he used the fears in the save teams again. He did not aim to inspire a crowd. On day 1, he only practiced speaking for 30 seconds alone. The next day, he practiced for 1 minute. Then he spoke to 1 friend. Spoke to Austrianen. Then to 3 people. Then to a small room. Then to a Sal's Pranza. Months later, Noah stood beneath bright stage lights. The crowd listened carefully, as he's told them a simple truth. Big lives are usually built by embarrassingly small beginnings. People nodded, because they saw their own struggles in his story. Noah realized his greatest progress was not visible in muscles or money. It was visible in the person he had become. He trusted himself now because he kept small promises. He understood that discipline was not punishment. It was self-respect repeated in tiny actions. One return after off-fear was the highest form of self-respect. Soon, the staircase that once looked impossible felt different. It was still long, but no longer frightening. Because Noah no longer stared at the top. He simply watched his next step and took it. Nust. Then, another. Another sank sound. Then, another. Behind him, thousands of tiny steps had already changed his life. Ahead of him, even greater dreams were finally within reach. If you feel lost right now, do not wait for a miracle. Choose one small action and let it begin the chain, because one tiny step repeated daily can quietly rewrite everything. Noah had learned to act before motivation arrived. He had defeated distraction, plateaus, and familiar fear. But one invisible enemy still controlled important decisions. It appeared whenever Noah wanted to create something meaningful. A new project would begin with genuine excitement. Then Noah imagined the perfect final result. The perfect design looked polished, original, and impressive. The perfect presentation received praise from everyone. The perfect plan contained no mistakes or uncertainty. Compared with that vision, his first attempt looked terrible. So Noah kept preparing instead of actually beginning. He collected ideas, tools, and endless notes. Preparation made him feel productive without risking judgment. Days passed, but the empty page remained untouched. Perfection had turned preparation into a hiding place. One morning, Noah received an important opportunity at work. His manager requested a proposal by Friday afternoon. Noah understood the problem and already had strong ideas. He promised himself he would create something exceptional. On Monday, he researched every possible solution. On Tuesday, he reorganized the research into new categories. On Wednesday, he changed the structure 3 different times. By Thursday, he still had no complete first draft. Every unfinished section seemed proof he needed more preparation. The deadline moved closer while Noah's confidence collapsed. Friday morning arrived with the document nearly empty. Noah rushed, copied scattered notes, and submitted something weak. The manager accepted it but noticed the missing depth. Noah blamed the deadline for the disappointing result. Deep inside, he knew perfection had stolen 4 days. That evening, Noah opened the mysterious notebook again. A crooked clay cup appeared across the glowing page. It leaned sideways and carried several visible fingerprints. Beside it stood a flawless cup trapped inside stone. The imperfect cup could already hold water. The perfect cup had never been released from the block. Noah understood the message before the words appeared. An imperfect creation can serve, teach, and improve. An imaginary masterpiece can do absolutely nothing. Perfectionism was not always a love of excellence. Sometimes it was fear wearing professional-looking clothes. It protected Noah from seeing his current skill level. It protected him from criticism, embarrassment, and revision. But that protection also prevented learning and completion. To improve, Noah needed something real enough to revise. The notebook gave Noah a deliberately uncomfortable rule. Create the worst acceptable first version. Noah hated the idea immediately. A bad first draft felt careless and embarrassing. But an empty page could never become a better page. So he opened a fresh document and set 10 minutes. He wrote without fixing sentences or changing the structure. Some ideas were useful, while others were painfully awkward. The draft contained repetition, gaps, and obvious weak points. Yet something important had finally appeared on the screen. There was now a shape Noah could examine. He marked one confusing section and improved only that. Then he strengthened one example and removed one repetition. The terrible draft slowly became a useful second version. Progress began when Noah allowed imperfection to exist. He applied the same rule to drawing. His first character looked uneven and strangely proportioned. Instead of deleting it, Noah drew another version. The second drawing fixed one problem but created another. The third had better posture and weaker facial expression. Each imperfect attempt revealed a specific lesson. No single drawing transformed him into a skilled artist. But every drawing made the next decision clearer. Noah stopped asking whether his work looked professional. He asked what one detail could improve next. This question reduced shame and created useful direction. Practice became evidence instead of a public performance. His sketchbook filled with visible mistakes and progress. The early pages looked rough beside the later pages. That contrast proved imperfect work had carried him forward. Then Noah tested the rule with public speaking. He recorded a 1-minute explanation on his phone. His voice sounded stiff and his eyes avoided the camera. His first instinct was to delete the recording immediately. Instead, he watched it once without insulting himself. He noticed his opening was clear but too fast. The next recording focused only on slowing down. His pace improved, though his hands moved too much. The third recording focused only on calmer gestures. Small corrections made the fourth attempt noticeably stronger. Noah realized confidence was not required before practice. Confidence was created by surviving imperfect practice repeatedly. Nobody needed to see the early recordings. But Noah needed to make them. The hidden rehearsal built the visible performance. Weeks later, another major proposal arrived at work. This time, Noah began before feeling fully prepared. He created a rough outline within 20 minutes. The outline was incomplete but revealed the missing information. He researched only what the draft actually required. Then he built a simple version and requested feedback. One colleague found a weak assumption in the plan. Another suggested a clearer way to explain the benefits. Old Noah would have treated feedback like humiliation. New Noah treated feedback like free navigation. He revised the proposal without defending every original choice. Each correction made the final structure stronger. By Thursday, the proposal was complete and carefully polished. Noah still saw imperfections nobody else would notice. But this time, perfection could not block completion. On Friday, Noah presented the proposal to the team. His slides were clear, useful, and thoughtfully designed. One chart could have looked slightly better. One sentence could have sounded more elegant. None of those details destroyed the value. The team approved the proposal and began implementation. Noah watched his imperfect work create real movement. That mattered more than protecting a perfect imaginary version. Excellence still mattered, but timing mattered too. Quality came through cycles of making and improving. It did not arrive fully formed before the first attempt. So begin before every detail feels certain. Create something small enough to finish and examine. Let reality teach what imagination cannot reveal. Finished and improving will always defeat perfect and invisible.
Sometimes the road ahead resembles an endless staircase into gray clouds. Standing below it, we feel exhausted before taking one step. We want to rush upward and conquer everything in one moment. But rushing makes us slip, fall, and lose our confidence. After repeated failures, we sit down while time passes quietly. We imagine becoming healthier, calmer, organized, confident, and truly productive. Yet reality finds us surrounded by clutter and constant distractions. Our phones hold our attention while precious hours silently disappear. The staircase remains ahead, but we cannot find the beginning. Then one tiny step suddenly begins glowing inside the darkness. Someone shows the path and hands us one tiny seed. It seems far too small to change anything important. Yet one bright dot stands apart among countless ordinary circles. A little ball can trigger a chain across the room. A tiny snowball grows larger while rolling down the mountain. Every powerful transformation can begin with something nearly invisible. So we stop climbing the entire staircase in one attempt. We focus only on the first step directly before us. One small movement still carries us closer to the light. The alarm rings and two voices argue inside our minds. One requests more sleep. The other asks us to rise. This time, we do not demand a perfect morning. We simply sit up, straighten the blanket, and make the bed. Then we pour one glass of water and drink it. Nothing dramatic happens, but our first promise is completed. When exercising, we avoid demanding an impossible first workout. Even one push-up makes our arms shake and struggle. Still, that single repetition becomes a genuine beginning. The following day, we return and complete slightly more. 1 becomes 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. Small marks appear, proving our quiet effort is accumulating. What felt impossible slowly becomes familiar, normal and manageable. We look in the mirror and notice someone changing. Progress is not exploding above. It is growing underneath. Like a seed, change first builds roots beneath the soil. Only later does a green shoot reach the sunlight. That first leaf feels almost like witnessing a miracle. But the miracle came from caring for it daily. Learning follows the same pattern of manageable, repeated effort. A thick book feels mountainous when viewed all at once. A tall stack can defeat us before we begin. So we open one book and read only 2 pages. Tomorrow, we read 2 more and mark the calendar. 2 pages seem tiny, but repeated pages create chapters. Chapters become books, and books become knowledge within us. The towering stack no longer appears like an enemy. We sit calmly and let understanding grow page by page. A creative skill also starts with something awkward and simple. Our first circle may look uneven, weak, and embarrassing. We draw again, repeating the same movement patiently. Frame after frame, our hand steadies and our vision sharpens. Eventually, the empty screen becomes a colorful, finished artwork. Talent grows through hundreds of repetitions nobody else sees. Money develops through the same patience and small decisions. At first, the savings jar holds 1 lonely coin. It looks ridiculous beside expensive objects demanding our attention. Phones, games, clothes, and sales pull us away. We place another coin inside and protect our goal. Day by day, coins slowly fill the empty jar. One jar becomes each serving a meaningful purpose. We divide money among needs, savings, learning, and opportunities. Security grows from consistent choices, not one lucky moment. Still, life sometimes becomes crowded with too many responsibilities. Work, food, exercise, money, clocks, and alerts fall together. We fill the calendar, then wish to erase everything. Some days succeed, while others remain empty and unfinished. One missed mark can make the journey feel ruined. But one difficult day cannot erase weeks of progress. The important action is returning on the following day. We mark another box and patiently rebuild our rhythm. Instead of serving the calendar, we learn to guide it. We simplify the environment surrounding every habit we want. At night, clothes, shoes, and water wait beside us. We dress, take the bottle, and move before doubt. At the desk, unnecessary devices and cables disappear. Games, boxes, and distracting objects leave the workspace. Only essential tools remain beneath the warm desk lamp. The phone enters a locked box beyond easy reach. Notifications and social media crash against a protective shield. Inside this quiet space, attention finally begins breathing. We read beside warm light while a sleepy cat rests. Good environments make useful actions easier than distraction. Habits are not one enormous decision made once. They are signals and actions connected into repeating sequences. The clock, glass, shoes, calendar, and book become reminders. Each object quietly reveals what action should happen next. Wake, drink, move, work, learn, rest, and prepare. These actions form the steady rhythm of meaningful days. Stone after stone eventually becomes a dependable walking path. Every completed action creates another glowing point below. Bright steps appear where no visible road existed. From far away, the pathway still looks difficult. While walking, we only face the nearest step. The process will not always feel exciting or rewarding. Some days, even small weights make both arms tremble. Sweat falls, faces redden, and bodies beg to stop. Sometimes we collapse and lose another evening online. Wasted days stretch behind us like a heavy shadow. We may slip from the staircase toward the dark mountain. Falling never means the story has finally ended. A climber grips the rock, resets, and continues upward. When confused, we ask someone experienced for direction. A teacher, friend, or conversation can reveal the next step. Every lesson adds another section to our glowing staircase. Quiet effort eventually becomes visible to other people. Then we choose one important task and focus completely. We learn, practice, and solve problems with greater calm. First, we speak nervously before a small group. Later, we stand confidently before an entire crowded hall. What once frightened us becomes a place of strength. We stop drowning among screens, charts, and unfinished plans. We finish one meaningful task before beginning another. Small habits reveal the person we truly want to become. We choose reading, movement, saving, creating, learning, and growth. Repeated effort cracks the wall that once seemed unbreakable. One final strike opens sunlight and a wider life. Success was never one leap, but thousands of small steps. Drink one glass, read one page, save one coin. Place your foot on the first step before feeling ready. 1% daily can carry you beyond every old expectation.
Noah believed he had finally gained control over life. He woke, worked, read, and moved before motivation arrived. But one hidden enemy survived every improvement he made. It appeared harmless, bright, entertaining, and strangely inviting daily. That pleasant disguise was made its influence far more powerful. The true enemy was never the phone itself alone. It was endless searching for another effortless, rewarding moment. Every swipe promised something new within a single second. Every short video erased boredom before discomfort could grow. At first, Noah believed he was simply resting briefly. Then one harmless clip quietly multiplied into 5 more. 20 clips became an hour he could never recover. When Noah looked up, the room had become darker. His body felt tired despite doing nothing physically difficult. Worst of all, he no longer wanted to begin. Easy rewards made ordinary effort feel painfully slow afterward. Even one important project suddenly felt almost impossible today. He trained his attention to expect novelty and excitement. That evening, Noah opened the mysterious glowing notebook again. A new warning appeared across the quietly glowing page. What feels harmless today can become tomorrow's invisible cage. Noah slowly examined the smartphone resting inside his hand. It resembled a machine controlling his very next decision. But the notebook revealed another important hidden warning nearby. Ignoring a trigger never destroys the underlying habit completely. You must redesign whatever action follows that trigger instead. The next morning, Noah carefully began observing his behavior. He noticed his phone appeared whenever work became uncertain. He reached for it whenever exercise started feeling uncomfortable. The trigger was not always simple ordinary boredom alone. Sometimes the real trigger was confusing uncertainty during work. Sometimes it was overwhelming stress pressing against him heavily. Sometimes fear of performing badly pushed him toward escape. The phone offered instant escape from every difficult feeling. Noah realized stronger willpower was not what he needed. He needed fewer automatic routes leading toward easy escape. So he redesigned the first 10 minutes each morning. The phone stopped sleeping conveniently beside his pillow nightly. Instead, it charged inside a box near the door. A simple alarm clock replaced his phone each morning. Using the phone now required several deliberate physical steps. That small distance created something unexpectedly powerful inside him. It created one pause between impulse and automatic action. Inside that pause, Noah remembered what he truly wanted. He applied the same principle throughout his daily workspace. The phone entered a closed drawer before work began. Noah did not eliminate all entertainment from his life. He removed distractions from the pathway toward meaningful goals. The first focus session felt deeply uncomfortable and unfamiliar. His hand automatically moved toward the closed desk drawer. His mind instantly produced convincing and urgent excuses again. But Noah stayed firmly seated inside his working chair. He watched the craving rise like a powerful wave. Then it slowly fell without ever being obeyed once. Noah discovered an urge was never an unavoidable command. After the urge passed, his task became much easier. 10 focused minutes gradually expanded into 25 strong minutes. Those 25 minutes quickly created visible, meaningful project progress. Real progress produced satisfaction that remained much longer afterward. For once, Noah clearly understood the difference between rewards. Lasting satisfaction remained inside him as genuine confidence afterward. He created one new rule governing entertainment and leisure. Enjoy entertainment deliberately, never unconsciously or accidentally ever again. He disabled automatic notifications across every distracting application immediately. As the phone quieted, Noah's mind became quieter too. But progress soon invited another difficult emotional test unexpectedly. One weekend, Noah felt deeply exhausted, isolated, and lonely. He opened one cheerful video, hoping to improve mood. Hours later, he remained there, still continuously watching alone. The old addictive loop returned much faster than expected. When the screen darkened, painful shame immediately appeared inside. Noah nearly declared the entire experiment a complete failure. Then the notebook reminded him of an older lesson. A relapse provides information, not a permanent personal identity. So Noah asked himself one more useful question instead. What feeling was he desperately trying to escape today? The honest answer was simply loneliness beneath everything else. The following weekend, Noah prepared a healthier, different response. When loneliness returned, he called one trusted close friend. When exhaustion appeared, he allowed himself a real nap. When stress arrived, he walked quietly without headphones outside. Each trigger received an answer matching its actual need. The old escape loop gradually lost its controlling power. Weeks passed and Noah's attention slowly began returning again. He could read longer without constantly seeking new stimulation. He worked through confusion instead of escaping toward distraction. He could sit quietly without needing constant noise nearby. Boredom stopped feeling like an emergency demanding immediate escape. Instead, boredom transformed into a doorway toward possibility itself. Behind boredom, Noah discovered new ideas waiting patiently inside. Behind silence, he discovered clarity and calmer thinking again. Behind discomfort, he discovered genuine growth becoming possible slowly. Then Noah noticed something deeply unexpected about everyday life. His days did not feel less enjoyable afterward either. They felt more vivid, grounded, meaningful, and entirely real. Even ordinary conversations became richer and more interesting again. Attention had always been the missing ingredient in experience. Whatever received Noah's full attention began feeling alive again. One afternoon, Noah returned to his familiar rooftop alone. The city below flashed with endless promises and stimulation. Every glowing light competed to become his next thought. Noah understood that competition would never willingly stop itself. There would always be another new video waiting nearby. Another message would always appear behind the previous message. Another game would open beyond the game already completed. Another effortless reward would arrive upon the endless conveyor. The world would never protect Noah's attention for him. He had to decide what truly deserved that attention. Look closely at what owns your next 10 minutes. Do not begin by destroying every possible distraction immediately. Begin instead by creating one small deliberate pause first. Move the phone farther away from your immediate reach. Place the book closer beside your working hand instead. Turn off one notification that repeatedly interrupts your mind. Finish one meaningful task before opening one distracting application. Allow boredom to simply exist for 60 quiet seconds. Notice the urge clearly without automatically obeying its demand. Then choose the action your future will actually remember. Because attention is more than whatever you currently see. Attention is what your entire life slowly becomes eventually.